All right, guys, welcome back to Crunch Time, the show where you get the best NBA DFS picks each and every day. Today we have a 10-game slate here, I believe. Let me double check. Yeah, 10-game slate here. Joined as always with Chrissair DFS. How are you doing today, Chris?
I dropped my AirPod in my coffee, so I might only have one for today. That was like 5 minutes ago, so I'm a little late.
Did you dry it and stuff already? Try to fix it?
Yeah, I washed it because it was in my coffee, so then I washed it with water. Now, it still works, but it's a little muffled.
You got to go put it in some jasmine rice.
Yeah, I mean it's messed up.
The rice? Go put it in some rice.
No, I have Apple Care or whatever, so I can get another replacement.
Oh, nice. Is the
So
Apple
I
Care,
think it's fine.
is the
I
Apple
think
Care,
it'll cover it because it's muffled. I don't know. I think it'll cover it though.
Wait, did they cover water damage? Coffee damage?
I think so.
Nice.
I think they do. Yeah.
So the Apple Care is worth it.
Yeah. So I
Nice.
guess that's why I got it.
What if it's expired? Hopefully it's not expired, actually.
No, I got these recently. I pay
Okay.
monthly, so I
Wait,
don't think it will be.
are they the more expensive ones, like the AirPod Pro or whatever?
Yeah.
Oh my god. They should make them waterproof. The phone's waterproof.
I think they are waterproof because it still works, but it was in my coffee for like a little bit.
Was your coffee hot so you didn't want to?
No, it wasn't that. I mean, I took it out right away, but and then I went to wash it right away. So, well, I don't know.
Did you finish your coffee?
Yeah, I drank it after.
Was it still good?
Tasted the same.
Okay. Got Hasty in the chat here. A few things from him before we get into the success. He says, I can't believe that he didn't notice Joe was the cover boy yesterday. Same here,
Yeah, I did
actually.
that. I did that for Hasty.
Yeah, he just noticed, though. But then he says, watch the Suns game, and don't think Joe had a very good night. Sorry, boys, my
Yeah, he
Jazz
didn't.
looked terrible.
Didn't they? I think they lost, but I mean they're missing Conley and Mitchell, so two of their top players. So can't put too much weight into the team being terrible.
Yeah, and then Miles Bridges was nice, Chris. He says, Nova boys.
Miles Bridges has been crushing it ever since Hayward has gone out. So yeah, I mean, I like Bridges a lot. He's a really good player.
I gave him to you in the fantasy league. There's too much collusion in the fantasy league now, Chris. But you need to get that under control. You as the league manager.
I'll get it under control for next season.
And then some tips from Hasty says Rice will work. Careful you don't get shocked live on stream.
I don't think I will. I mean, they're waterproof. Like they're supposed to be waterproof.
I mean,
It's not. It's not like there was some like old headphones. But yeah, I think it'll be fine.
we used to have like the cell phones exploding on people. You never
I
know.
don't even have. I don't have it in now because it's like muffled. It messes with me if I have both in now. So
Oh, sorry. He's saying the other Bridges, the Michael. However you say his name. That Bridges was nice. Not
Yeah,
Miles. Miles went to MSU. He says.
yeah, that Bridges. He can be an exercise guy sometimes, but he's developing nicely. I mean, that entire team is developing nicely.
Yeah. Okay, so some success, Chris. I need your contests. So it was a quiet night, actually. We have Deshaun here. First post of the night from him. So he did 52.95 DK action. Did he do something a little different here, Chris? Because I don't see too many people posting DK yesterday.
He doesn't play the optimal.
Oh, so just a little bit different here?
Yeah, I mean, he always asks me questions about different players, so I honestly don't even know if he uses the tool or not.
Yeah, he's a solid guy, though. He loves DFS. I mean, everyone here loves DFS, but yeah. I'm just wondering how many of these guys were chalky, because I know we talked about the Bucks guys here. So he has those. He's got Halliburton. Like, what do you make of this lineup here?
Yeah, I mean, it's solid. It's like, I mean, it looks like he does use the thingy because a lot of those players are the same. But we can get into my lineup once if we want to look at the chalkiness.
Okay. I need your contest. So I just got one. Okay, then we got turn and burn here. This was some baseball action yesterday on Friday. So he did $395.21 into $868. Main slate on DK for baseball, and then pucks 310 to 628. So he's been playing other sports here quite a bit. Do you think the baseball action will get a bit, like there'll be more of it once NBA is over? Or like how does it work in the off season for NBA in terms of fantasy? Like what do people play?
I mean, baseball, I think it's a bigger sport than NBA in terms of fantasy. So you get a lot of action around opening day. Then obviously, as all sports, I mean, the players who are losing fall off. The profitable players stay there. I mean, that's what happens with all sports.
Oh, so you're saying baseball is actually more popular than basketball for DFS? I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's pretty popular. I think they run more milli makers. It's definitely a very, very popular sport.
For some reason, I thought the rankings was like football, basketball, baseball, hockey.
Yeah, it is. Well, it's very close between baseball and basketball.
Yeah,
But yeah, football is by far the biggest one.
yeah. I didn't know that though. Baseball and basketball were that close. But that's good to hear. Maybe we'll need to do a baseball show, Chris. Maybe I'll need to learn how to play baseball. But yeah, solid stuff out of Turn and Burn there. Got Young Black and Gifted back at it again. Honestly, kind of talks like T-Bay. Like, doesn't this remind you of Thomas? The pleasures of shark hunting. That sounds something like Thomas would say.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, but yeah, he's been doing this for a while, shark hunting. So he went for Mangone yesterday over at Run Pure. So 302, 289. I don't know why he loves doing this, the shark hunting, but I mean, it works for him. So I guess if you know what you're doing, go for it. Like he's been doing well doing this. So that's awesome. And then we got Nick here. He says DK needs to get a recents set up so you can get your recent contests. Apparently there's something on the website there from Austin. He says that. Did you know that, Chris?
Yeah, I mean, I'm on the site all day long, so it's not as good as FanDuel.
All day long. But yeah, this is some baseball stuff. Double up here, 40 to 80, 25 50, 10 20, 10 20. This is, I'm guessing, a tournament entry here, 555 into 15. Yeah, more double up action, and then even more double up action. So he played quite a bit actually yesterday. This is NBA now actually. So NBA on DK, double ups there. NHL on DK, also double ups there. And then more NHL. So a lot of stuff out of Nick. It's awesome. And then now we got Aiden here, just posted this. So what do we have? He did some NHL 50-100, NBA single game 20 to 40, NHL on DK 57 to 115, single slate NHL 8 to 16, NBA single slate 26-52, and then baseball main slate 50 to 100. Just wanted to ask you, Chris, what do you think of LeBron's debut, or I don't know what to call it, but return from his injury, losing to the Sacramento Kings, who just got blown out by like 50 points or something? How do you lose to the Kings? They don't even have Fox. Like, how does that happen?
Yeah, I mean, the Kings must have been playing well. I didn't watch the game, but yeah, I saw that as well this morning and was pretty surprised. LeBron played 31 minutes, so I'm not sure exactly how it happened, but I mean, it was his first game back. New teammates, pretty much, with Drummond there now. Also, it could just be the Drummond effect. I mean, he shows up to a team, they become a losing team, so it could be that.
I don't know about that. Drummond's a beast, Chris. But no, LeBron had like an open shot at the end, 3-pointer, bricked it. So he had a good look there too. I don't know if it was to win the game. I think it was to win the game. I don't think it was to tie. I think they had, I don't know, he shot like a 3 with like 4 seconds left on the clock. I think he could have got maybe a closer look. I don't know if it was a 3-point game or 2-point game. Do you know, Chris?
It ended a 4-point game.
Yeah, I think they got two
I don't
free
know about the
throws.
shot though.
Yeah, so then it must have been a 2-point game. So yeah. Um,
Also, do you know you could add multiple reactions at once if you hold shift?
no.
Yeah, hold shift and then you can just add them.
The
Yeah,
heck?
there you go. 'Cause I saw you clicking one, and then clicking another one. So yeah,
Oh, you can also remove them too after you add them.
no, I don't think so. I think you're just changing the order because it's ordered by whatever you use the most.
Wow, I did not know that. That's awesome. Um, that is a huge time saver, Chris. I didn't know that. Nice, thanks. Um, let's see. Hasty says Turnberg goated MLB is huge for DFS. I think John Boy breakdowns are hilarious. Young Black Gifted trolling all the big fish. Ronda's in here. He says, is it true that LBJ said he will never be 100% again in his career?
He sent me that, but it was from some random side action, whatever that is. I don't know. I need something more reliable. Uh, if I don't think he would say something like that, but maybe he did.
I think Hasty would think that
Actually,
LeBron would say something like that.
he did say that. So he said it's impossible. Or LeBron James on return from high ankle sprain. LeBron says it's impossible. I don't think I will ever get back to 100% in my career. So I don't know. I don't know if that's true or not. Like, I mean, he's a beast. So I don't know.
He's a beast, but he also loves to sprinkle in some of these types of excuses, cop outs, right?
Yeah, maybe that's all it is. I mean, that's probably what Hasty's gonna think it is.
I mean, I feel like of all people, he could definitely get back to 100% from that. Like aging aside, like aging is a separate thing, but yeah, I mean, I feel like that's his style, as you would say, Chris. um, yeah, that's a good tip. I don't know how many people knew that about the emojis. Let's see. Hasty, yeah, multiple emoji drop badge activated. Apparently, lots of articles. Hasty says LBJ creating that narrative early on in case they lose. He is a drama queen that loves excuses. I mean, yeah, there you go. Like, I mean, that is his style, so it's not surprising. But yeah, let's go over DK, Chris. So you actually cashed here, but you didn't post anything here. So what's going on?
Yeah, I had a decent night on DK. I mean, lineup was pretty solid. I won a little bit of money, but I didn't want to post it. But yeah, had a decent night. Everyone was pretty chalky here. Had Brolo as my low-owned guy. He went for 36. He had the flame emoji. Wagner, he's in play today as well, so he played pretty well considering his price tag. He got 19 fantasy points, so he hit value. I think I'm going to play him on both sites today. Then Niang was my other low-owned guy. That game kind of blew out. I think he had like 14 in the first half, so he didn't do much in the second half. But yeah, I mean, I like this build. I thought it was the obvious build. I mean, as you can see, a bunch of other people landed on this build on DraftKings. Ended up splitting money here. Probably missed out on some, like, scroll up. Let's see some other lineups. Let's see who went off yesterday.
DeJounte.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. So, because he's 4%. So it's like Portis, 22% here. Click someone else. Go to that 11th place train. Oh yeah, Bryn Forbes here, 10x, 3K, went for 32. So that hurt someone like Niang, who was kind of the pivot there once we got him starting. So yeah, Bryn Forbes in this lineup once again. So yeah, that was kind of the big guy that obviously our lineup didn't have.
Yeah, and then the San Antonio game also went to OT, I believe. The Boston one.
Yeah,
Here.
that one wasn't too highly owned that entire game, but I think Boston was down by 30 points in like the third quarter. Tatum ended up bringing them all the way back to OT, and they actually ended up winning. Tatum scored 60, so that was a crazy game.
I was close to shipping it actually on DK, but not that close, I guess. Ended up 30th place, but didn't win money actually. Still lost some money. But I had some exposure to this game, so that was pretty good sweat there. But still ended up losing. 30th does not pay out that much in the 150 entry on
you have
DK.
to be top 3 if you want to win. That's just how tournaments work.
Yeah.
That's why. Also, I always get these questions like, people were playing MMA last Saturday, uh, DMing me. He was, I forget who it was. I think it was Espo. He was saying like, "Oh, I'm not even breaking even on in MMA right now." I was like, "Yeah, that's how tournaments work. Like, you play to win first place. You don't play to break even. If you play to break even, you should be playing cash games. Like, it doesn't really make sense to kind of think that way." I think he
true.
actually ended up profiting anyways after the last fight because he told me that before the last fight. But yeah, tournaments are all about the top three, just because I mean the prizes are so top heavy there.
I mean, yeah, that is true. That's why people always recommend going like a 80-20 cash tournament entry fee split daily if you want to do tournaments, just to have the cash games absorb those losses so you can sustain your bankroll for longer, if you're about that. So yeah, so I guess that's a good pointer from you, Chris. Should we jump into FanDuel here?
Yeah, so FanDuel, I was pretty dead early, so I swapped off Portis, who I knew was going to be chalky. I think I had Portis and Halliburton. Can you go 281? That was the team I had. 281. Yeah, so I think it was this team. Yeah, this team right here. So yeah, 2v2 here. This one had on the right, it had Halliburton and Portis. I had Clarkson and Thad Young. Originally going into the slate, I had the team on the right. I knew I was dead early. I had CJ. He was like 50% owned. He had a horrible first half, so kind of knew I had to do something different to kind of differentiate myself from the field if I wanted to win. Obviously, both sides ended up losing, but if Portis had a bad game here, I think I could have ended up winning more. Obviously, I would have needed some things to go my way with Thad Young and Clarkson. But I knew I was pretty dead early here on FanDuel, so that's why I made the swap. So yeah, that's how I kind of late swap yesterday. It didn't work out, obviously, just because I mean the Brooklyn game wasn't great in terms of how it ended up. It was a blowout. Some other spots didn't do too well. Ingles here, 32%, didn't do too well. But yeah, I mean that happens. But I feel like I like the way I played the slate.
Yep. Hasty on LeBron, he says he's the goat of excuses. Remember that broken hand after the finals?
I don't remember that. I remember the cramping. That's what I remember.
Did he? Oh, I think I remember something. Did he actually break his hand, or did he say he broke his hand?
I don't remember that at all.
Did he? LeBron broke hand finals. Let's see if we can find it. Let's open it up. Yeah, played finals with the broken hand, Chris.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't know if I was even watching these finals. Like I said a few shows ago, like I watch when I play DFS. I think at this point I wasn't playing playoffs DFS because it's just single game slates. And I mean, I don't really love watching when I don't have some lineups.
Clean.com. LeBron, we're just learning about your hand injury, and we can obviously see the brace. Can you
Put a
take
brace
us through
on.
what happened and if it caused you any problems over the final 3 games?
What happened? Self-inflicted. Post game after game 1, very emotional.
It says post game after game 1, very
for a lot of
emotional.
different reasons. Understanding how important a game 1 is on the road for our ball club. What would that done for us? The way we played, the calls that was made throughout the course of that game. And I had emotions on, the game was taken away from us. I had emotions of you just don't get an opportunity like this on the road versus Golden State to be able to get a game 1. And, I let the emotions get the best of me and pretty much played the last 3 games with a broken hand. So that's what it is.
Oh yeah, this is when
LeBron,
J.R.
we're
Smith
just
had
learning
that
about,
play,
hand
right?
injury, and we can obviously see the brace.
I guess so.
Can
Right
you
here.
take us through what happened and if it caused you any problems over the
Oh
final
my
3 games?
goodness.
I actually
What
remember
happened?
watching this game. I think they should have won.
Yeah, he
Post game after
broke
game
his hand
1.
after that. Do you believe that?
I mean, I don't know.
I mean,
Probably
that's-
not.
Yeah, me too. Got Ronald Jones in here. What's up, man? He says, "Can't believe you played Niang. You hate that guy."
Yeah, I don't like Niang much.
Tatum went off. Portland Nets game was good as well. 80-20. Yep. He says, "If he really broke his hand, he would have told the world right away. He never broke his hand at all. It is a lie and an excuse from the quote-unquote GOAT." Lols. Yeah, I mean, he's got a case here, Chris. Let's get into, I think we did everything, right? We can get into the slate. 10 games here, Chris. What's your favorite news so far? Yeah, any favorite games here to target, favorite news, stuff like that.
So I like the Pistons a lot here. We have some value with them. They're resting their guys. We have a giant slate once again, so a lot of stuff to go over. Pistons, I like them with the guys that are resting, like I said. We have Luka with no KP today against the Wizards, so one of our favorite matchups. So he's an absolute lock on both sites. We have studs, other studs, Jokic, Westbrook, Curry. So I mean, we have a giant slate here. So I'm very excited.
Nice. Is KP damaged goods, Chris? I acquired him in my fantasy league, and he seems like he's damaged goods.
Yeah, I mean, obviously there's rumors that him and Luka don't get along. I mean, I don't know. I think he's going to be moved. I don't think it's a good fit. We haven't seen it consistently enough.
Oh, I didn't know about that rumor. It's an interesting one. But yeah, let's get into it, Chris. First up, Detroit, Charlotte. Let's go over Pistons first. So Plumdog Millionaire out, Dennis Smith Jr. out, Kojo out, Wayne Ellington out, Jahlil Okafor out, Grant out, Magruder out, Hamidou Diallo doubtful. Projected starters: Killian Hayes, Josh Jackson, Sadiq Bey, Sekou Dembuya, and then Isaiah Stewart. So you like to call these guys the vets here on the Pistons, even though they're not too old. I mean, I don't know if Grant considered a vet, Chris?
I mean, relative to the team, when I say it, that's what I'm saying.
Oh, okay. But yeah, I guess they're resting their vets like you usually say today. So this is typically an instance of when you have interest in the Pistons. Is that the case here today?
Yeah, so I mean, ton of value here on the Pistons, both sites. I like them a lot. I like using them as the value pieces. They help you spend up for studs like Luka, Curry, Kat, Jokic, Westbrook. So I mean, I think it makes a lot of sense to play them. They're resting a bunch of guys. A bunch of guys are missing. So we have a bunch of cheap guys here who are in play. I guess I'll start with Isaiah Stewart since he's usually my favorite one. FanDuel is where he's more in play. He's still 5.9K over there. DraftKings has him at 6.5K. A little more expensive there. On DraftKings, I kind of prefer, I think, one of the guards who's very cheap. We'll get into that later. But I love Stewart here. He had the big game last time against who was it? Who did they play last time? Dallas? Yeah, so he had the big game against Dallas in the same situation. Played 29 minutes, 43 fantasy points. So I like him a lot. I think he's a super solid play here, especially on FanDuel where he's cheaper. Josh Jackson, another guy that I think is a better play on FanDuel. He is 5.4K over there. DraftKings has him at 6K, so a little more expensive on DK. He didn't play too many minutes last game, but he's a guy that benefits from all these guys being out. I think he becomes the primary scoring option on this team in this situation, so I like him. On DraftKings, he's less in play. He's a little bit more expensive, like I said. But I mean, I don't mind him there either if you land there. Probably more of a tournament guy for me from this team. But I love him in FanDuel cash games. And then we have guys like Sadiq Bey, 5K on FanDuel, 5.2 on DraftKings. I like him as well. Killian Hayes, Sabin Lee, they're both cheap. I think Killian Hayes is more in play on FanDuel, and Sabin Lee is more in play on DK because Sabin Lee is 3K on DK. Killian Hayes is 4.6, so we get Sabin Lee for the minimum. I like him a lot on DK. Really solid value play, I think. And then Sekou Dembuya, also expect him to start. He's 3-1 here on DraftKings. FanDuel has him at 3.5. So it's a good price for him on both sides, assuming he's starting. Obviously, we'll have to wait and see who they end up starting. But they've been starting him recently in this situation. So I like him on DK. FanDuel, I prefer someone like Wagner for value there at power forward, but He's there as well for the minimum, so I don't mind him. I mean, all these guys are viable. Like, wait and see who they start, and then play the cheap guys. That's how I'm gonna kind of handle it.
Sounds like a good strategy. Got Brent in here. What's up? Charlotte side, Chris. Gordon Hayward out. Is he coming back this year? Probably. They're a playoff team, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, so he's coming back probably in like 10 days or so expected. So we'll see. Malik Monk, probable. LMB, LaMelo Ball, probable. Projected starters, Graham, Rozier, Cody Martin, Bridges, and Washington. So I guess if LaMelo Ball, this would be his first game back, right, Chris?
Yep.
So yeah, if he's back here, well, actually, yeah. How does that change anything today, or not really? Because we've had all these other guys kind of priced up for a while. Like they've been playing without a lot of their guys for a while. Did the prices get changed at all with LaMelo expected to be back today? Is my question.
Yeah, I mean, we have to wait and see who they start. I think they were saying that LaMelo Ball's minutes are going to be limited. But I mean, who knows? It's a wrist injury, so he should still be well conditioned. I think it might just be more coach speak saying that it's going to be limited. I think they might just play him his normal minutes, 30 plus probably. I mean, like you said, they're fighting for a playoff spot. They're fighting to make the play-in game. So, I mean, I think they want to play LaMelo here. Probably the only guy that I'm really interested in. He's 5'6" on FanDuel, so I love that price tag in tournaments. I think he's very sneaky. I expect him to get some ownership just because he's a big name, but we just have a bunch of other plays here at point guard, so probably going to go under-owned. But I like him a lot in tournaments. I think he's sneaky, like I said. And then, yeah, that's probably it. Like, I don't love the matchup against Detroit. He's the guy that's a little too cheap, in my opinion, just looking at that team from a first glance. So that's probably it for me.
Okay. Let's go into the next one. So it's the Warriors against Houston. We got Royal King in here as well. What's up? Let's go over Golden State, Chris. We have Damian Lee out, Eric Pascal out, and then Kelly Oubre and Green both marked as questionable. Projected starters, Steph Curry, Bazemore, Wiggins, Green, and Kevon Looney. Anything on the Warriors side today, Chris?
I mean, it's just Curry here for me. I love Curry as a spend up on both sides today. He's 10-6 on DK, so that's a little more expensive than we're used to. But on FanDuel, 9-7. We got a really good matchup here against Houston. They're implied to score 120. We know that most of the production here is going to come from Steph Curry. I expect him to shoot 25 plus times today. And I mean, Houston doesn't really play defense, so I don't expect any doubles or anything like that. Usually these tanking teams are kind of more focused on developing their young players than trying to like implement strategy to stop these star players. So I like these matchups for guys like Steph Curry. Only concern would be a blowout. Golden State is favored by 8 points. So it's not projected to blow out, but there's obviously, I mean, it's always a possibility when the Rockets are playing. They can always get blown out. So yeah, Curry's the only guy for me here.
Okay. Houston side, Brown, Nwaba, House, Bradley, Gordon, and Augustine. All out. Projected starters, Kevin Porter Jr., Armani Brooks, Jay Sean Tate, Kelly Olynyk, and Christian Wood. Anything on the Rocket side, Chris?
Yeah, so FanDuel didn't really price Porter Jr. up once again. He's 6.1K over there. Just an easy play against the Warriors. He went for 70 fantasy points last game. 41 minutes. We've seen him play huge minutes when John Wall misses games. So, I mean, he's an easy play on FanDuel. I think he's a free square here. He's going to be a part of my core as well. So I love him on FanDuel for 6-1. DraftKings, they have him at 7-4, so it's more of a decision there. Don't love that price tag, honestly. I don't think we need to spend in the mid-range here on this slate where we can just get stars and scrubs. Probably play 3 or 4 stars. So I'd rather do that than play someone like Porter Jr. on DK. If you want to play like Christian Wood, I guess I don't mind it. He's 8-7 on DK. You can obviously play 2 centers there. 8-7 on FanDuel, so don't mind him, but I think most of my interest comes from KPJ on FanDuel.
Okay. Let's jump into the next game. We have Miami at Cleveland. Let's go over Miami first. So Tyler Hero out for them. Oladipo out, should be back soon. Gabe Vincent probable. Projected starters, Kendrick Nunn, Butler, Robinson, Ariza, and Adebayo. Any interest here, Chris, on Miami?
No, not really. Just monster slate here. This is the worst game. Lowest over under, highest spread on the slate. So I have no interest here.
Okay. Let's go over Cleveland. Hardenstein out. Lamar Stevens out. Garland, Nance Jr., and Delhi all out. Projected starters: Sexton, Okoro, Chetty Osman, Kevin Love, and Jarrett Allen. So we had interest in Jarrett Allen for a bit. Chris wasn't priced appropriately for a while, I think, over on FanDuel. See him at 7-1 today, so don't think he is of interest today. But anyone else on the Cavs that you might like?
Maybe Sexton tournaments just because Garland's out, but I mean they're implied to score under 100 points here. You don't really see that in the NBA anymore. Just an awful matchup, awful game environment here.
Okay, let's go into the next one. That was a fast one. So we got the Bulls against the Hawks. Let's go over Chicago first. So we have Troy Brown Jr., Zach LaVine. How do you say this guy's name, Chris? What is it?
Felicio.
Cristiano? Where's he from?
Brazil, I think.
Nice. So he's out. Vucevic and Markkanen are questionable. So that's pretty important, right? Vucevic, questionable. Projected starters, we have Kobe White, Temple, Pat Williams, Tice, and Vucevic if he is in. So if Vucevic is out, Chris, does that increase your interest in this game at all?
Yeah, it would, but I mean, they also have Markkanen questionable, so I mean, I can't really tell at this point. We don't know who they'll start. I think Thaddeus Young could be an option if he does end up starting for Vucevic. Probably going to become a lock, but this game starts 1 hour after the slate locks. First game of the slate is where we got all our value, so it's probably going to be hard to pivot. I don't know, I don't love it. If Vucevic is out, then I'll consider some guys here, but at this point, I don't think I need to really go into anything here just because it all depends on the Vooch news. If he's in, you can play him on FanDuel, I guess, for 9K. DraftKings, he's still over 10K, so I wouldn't do that over there. But maybe on FanDuel, you can get him at lower ownership here because of the questionable tag.
Okay. Atlanta, we got Hunter out, Bogdanovich, and Kevin Huerter both marked questionable. Projected starters: Trae Young, Bogey, Kevin Huerter, Collins, and Capella. What about these questionable tags, Chris, in Bogdan and Huerter? Does that also will that also alter your interest on the Hawks side?
No, not really. Just because Trae Young is back now, so it's just usually Trae Young here on this team when he's back, when he's playing. I don't mind Capella either in this matchup against the Bulls. Only played 16 minutes, I think yesterday. Was it yesterday? Was the 30th yesterday?
Yes.
Yeah, yesterday. So yeah, he only played 16 minutes, got 34 fantasy points, so he's still very productive. I think he got into foul trouble or it just blew out. I'm not sure. I didn't watch that game, but he's viable in tournaments. I never mind playing Capella when Trae Young is in. I think Trae Young makes Capella better. If you want to pair them together against the Bulls here, I don't mind that either. But in cash games, there's nothing here.
Okay. Moving on, we have Indiana against OKC. Let's go over Indiana first. So Sumner marked as probable. We have Jakar Sampson marked as out, and then a bunch of questionable tags in Bitadze, Brogdon, Lamb, and Sabonis. Projected starters: Brogdon, Sumner, LeVert, Brissett, and Sabonis. So I guess for Sabonis, this questionable tag is an upgrade from his previous out tag. Do you think they'll play? And then is this another team where all these questionable tags really matter today?
Yeah, I mean, it's really hard to pick these guys right now, just because so much is up in the air. Goga also questionable. I think Sabonis probably ends up playing. I think Brogdon might sit, so TJ would become a great play if Brogdon sits. So we'll have to keep an eye out for that news. But I mean, like I said, it's hard for me to speculate. If Sabonis and Brogdon both miss, Karis LeVert becomes an elite play. So I don't know. It's hard to talk about just because there's so many scenarios that could happen. Like Brogdon could play, Sabonis could sit. That would change things. The opposite could happen. Both could sit. Both could play. So I don't know.
Okay. OKC side, we have Muscala out, Pokusevski out, Dort out, SGA out. Projected starters: Maladin, Svi, Baisley, Roby, and Moses Brown. Did you have higher hopes, Chris, with Moses Brown earlier on when his role was kind of increased?
I mean, he was crushing it. Then they acquired Tony Bradley, who took a lot of minutes from him. But now they're kind of going back to Moses Brown. Now he's played 32 minutes last game. He had a stretch where he was playing sub 20. But, I mean, whenever he plays over 24, he just crushes. We've seen it earlier this season. He had a stretch of 30 minutes per game. He was consistently getting 45 fantasy points. So this guy's a beast. I mean, he's very cheap on FanDuel, 4.6. I think DraftKings also has him pretty cheap at 4.9K. So I do like him. I have some interest in him. I think Roby is also interesting on DraftKings for 4.5. We have some injuries here. So Dort, Pokashevsky, they're both out. So that makes me interested in some of the Thunder guys. Usually I'm not too interested. But we have some cheap price tags here as well. So I have some interest. I think Svi Mihailuk is also viable on DraftKings. He's 3.4K over there, so only 400 over the minimum. He should play over 20 minutes here. Decent point per minute guy. If he's starting, he would probably become a lock. So we'll have to wait and see who they end up starting. Ty Jerome also in play. He's 3.7 on DraftKings. If he starts, he probably becomes a lock as well. So it depends on the starting lineups, but I have a lot of interest in the Thunder here today.
Got it. Moving on to the next one, we have Pelicans against Minnesota. Let me just do that. Let's go over... Where is this? Let's go over New Orleans first. So we have Josh Hart out, Nikhil Alexander-Walker out, Steven Adams out. Projected starters, Lonzo Ball, Bledsoe, Ingram, Zion, and Hernan Gomez. Anything here, Chris?
Yeah, so I think Hernan Gomez is interesting once again. Obviously, Adams is out. He's missing the game. Hernan Gomez is 4.8. He's been starting for Adams. So he's 4.8 on DK, 4.7 on FanDuel. Really good matchup here against the Timberwolves. You have the brother narrative. He's going up against Juancho, so I don't mind that either. So I think he's viable. Probably more of a tournament guy for me on this slate. But like I said, I don't mind playing him. Zion and Ingram, they're obviously the main guys who I'm always interested in. Pelicans have an implied team total of 121 here. So I do have interest in these spend-ups. I kind of prefer Ingram today just because Zion has had some down games now. He played well last game, but I mean, if you look at his game log, he's had some 30 fantasy point outings recently. So I don't love that. Minutes have kind of been down. He's not getting him many stocks. So, I mean, I don't love playing guys who don't get many stocks. He should get a lot more just with his skill set. But this is a really good matchup, so it could be a pretty good buy low spot, especially on FanDuel, where he's 8.9K. So I don't mind playing him. Ingram is 7.5 on FanDuel, so I like that price tag a lot as well. So yeah, I have interest in these main guys for sure in tournaments and cash games.
Okay. Minnesota, healthy squad today. Projected starters, Rubio, Ant-Man, Cody, Catman, and McDaniels. Any interest there?
Yeah, so in cash games, it's just going to be Cat. I like the matchup a lot against the Pelicans. He's 9.2K on FanDuel, which is just way too cheap in my opinion. So I think I'm going to play him there if I'm not spending down for someone like Moses Brown. But I think it's pretty easy to spend up for Cat here. So I like playing Cat on FanDuel in cash games. It's the only guy for cash or in cash for me. D'Lo, Ant-Man, even Rubio. I think they're all viable in tournaments. But yeah, like I said, in cash games, it's just going to be Cat here.
Okay. Moving on, we have this Memphis Orlando game. Let's go over the Grizzlies first. So we have Triple J marked as probable, Grayson Allen doubtful, projected starters, John Morant, Desmond Bane, Dylan Brooks, Kyle Anderson, and Jonas. Any interest here, Chris?
Not really. I mean, I don't love the matchup against Orlando. They're implied to win by, or the spread is 12 right now. So yeah, I mean, I don't love much here. Maybe DeAnthony Melton with Grayson Allen doubtful. We saw Melton have a decent game yesterday. In relation to his price tag, I think he went for 5x. So he's 3.9K, I think, on DraftKings. On FanDuel, Melton is 4.1. So I mean, I don't mind him here as a value guy. I think he's a decent option. But yeah, I don't know. I'm not really too interested in the Grizzlies here.
Okay. Other half of this game, Magic, we have Chuma Okeke, T. Ross, Otto Porter, MCW, and James Ennis all marked as out, so 5 guys out. Projected starters, Cole Anthony, Gary Harris, Dwayne Bacon, Mo Wagner, and Wendell Carter Jr. Anything there, Chris?
Yeah, so there's one guy here that I'm interested in. It's going to be Mo Wagner. He got the start yesterday, I think, in place of Okeke because Okeke is out. So I have interest in him. He's very cheap. He's the minimum on FanDuel. I think he's a lock there. DraftKings, they priced him up a little bit. He's 3.3K now. But I still think he's way too cheap for the minutes he's going to get and the role he has now. So I think he's one of my favorite value plays on this entire slate. So yeah, he's the only guy here for me.
Okay, let's go to the next one. Wizards against the Mavs. Let's see where we are at. So Washington side first. I don't think we have anything noted. So another healthy team today. Projected starters, Westy, Neto, Beal, Hachimura, and Alex Len. Anybody here, Chris, going up against the Mavericks?
I mean, we always have interest in Russell Westbrook. I always say he's more interesting on DraftKings than he is on FanDuel, so I don't mind him there. He's still 11K. Had a little bit of a down game yesterday, but that was because of the blowout. I think they won by 30 points, so he only played 31 minutes. So yeah, I mean, I don't mind going back to him. I don't want to play Beal here. Hachimura, don't really want to play him either. So I think it's just going to be Westbrook here if I am playing a Wizard. I like him a lot in tournaments. I think he's viable for sure. And even in cash games on DraftKings just because of his floor.
Okay. Let's go over the other half. Dallas side, JJ Redick out, Zingis out, Dorian Finney-Smith probable, Doncic probable, and Kleba also probable. Projected starters, Luka, Josh Richardson, Dorian Finney-Smith, Kleba, and then Dwight Powell. So, yeah, anything here on the Mavs side, Chris, with Zingis out here today? Usually you like to get Luka. Is that the case today?
Yeah, Luka's an easy play here today without KP against the Wizards. I think you got to play Luka here. You saw last time against the Warriors, he had the monster game. They blew them out really early. So he hasn't played in a while. He rested their last game. So yeah, he's been off for a little bit. But I like him a lot here against the Wizards. 10.9K on DK, 10.8 on FanDuel. So he's going to be a lock for me. He's my favorite spend up on the entire slate today. And then these other guys, I'm fine with them in tournaments, but we just know that all of the production from this team is going to come from Luka most likely. So he's going to be my favorite guy. If you want to play like Hardaway Jr. in tournaments, maybe as the last piece in cash games, someone like Richardson, maybe Dorian Finney-Smith, I don't mind that, I guess. But, I think it's just going to be Luka here.
Okay. Let's go over the next game. We have the Raptors against the Jazz. So this is my team against Hasty's team here today. Toronto side, Kalo out, Trent Jr. out, Boucher out, Paul Watson out, and then Fred VanVleet marked as probable. Projected starters, Freddie, Malachi Flynn, OG Anunoby, Siakam, and Kem Birch. Anything here, Chris, on the Raptor side with, Kalo being out here?
Yeah, so I think that Malachi Flynn is pretty interesting on DK. So he got the start last game. He's 4.3K on DraftKings. He played 32 minutes last game as well. That was when VanVleet missed. So like you said, Lowry is the guy missing this game. So I expect them to start Malachi once again. I think he's a very solid value play on DraftKings for his price tag. He produces just a solid player, I think. So I like playing him for 4.3 on DK in cash games. Tournaments, I don't know if he has the upside that you need to win one, but I love him in cash games, like I said. And then there's Fred VanVleet as well. I think he benefits a lot from Lowry being out. He's 7.4K on FanDuel. So I like that price tag. So he's going to be probably my favorite spend up from this team. I don't really want to play Siakam. He hasn't been playing great recently. So yeah, it's going to be Fred VanVleet up top if I'm spending up, and then Malachi Flynn for value.
Okay. Jazz side, Conley out and Mitchell out. Azabuk also out. Projected starters, Jingle Joe, Royce O'Neal, Bojan Bogdanovic, Niang, and Gobert. Any interest on the Jazz side, Chris?
Not too much here. So these guys are kind of priced up now. They're all priced as if Mitchell and Conley are out. Like we have Clarkson at 7.5 on DraftKings. Ingles is 7.1. So they're both just way too expensive for me. On FanDuel, probably more in play. Ingles is 5.8 over there. Clarkson is 6.5. So better price tags there. But still, I think I don't think it's necessary here on this slate. I think they're really good tournament plays just because we know the upside that they have in this situation. They've busted a few times in a row now, so they're going to be lower owned. So I like them a lot in tournaments, but I don't think we need it in cash games here.
Okay. Moving on, last game of the slate here, Chris. Denver Nuggets, LA Clippers. Nuggets side, we got Monte Morris, Barden, both marked as out. Zeke Naji marked as questionable. Projected starters, Campazzo, Dozier, Gordon, Porter Jr., and Jokic. Jokic projected for 56. It's kind of high, Chris. Any interest here on the Denver side? I mean, it's like a nice.
Why do you think that? Why do you think that's high?
No, I mean it's like a nice score. 56 is a good projection.
Yeah, I think he's the best fantasy player this season. Maybe
yeah, that's what I
than
mean.
Oscar.
Like, it's impressive.
Yeah, so I mean he's a great play on DK once again. Similar to Westbrook, you have the triple double bonus there. He's 10.7, so I think they actually priced him down a little bit. I have no idea why. I think he's way too cheap here on DK. I think it's pretty easy to get him. You can pair him with Luka. You can pair him with another stud like Curry or Westbrook with all the value that we have on this slate. So, I love playing Jokic on DraftKings where you can play two centers. FanDuel, it's always harder to play him just because you can only play one center. So you can only kind of play him on the slates where there's no other viable centers. But today on FanDuel, we have Cat, I mentioned, for 9.2K, which is just way too cheap. So I prefer Cat on FanDuel, Jokic on DK here. He's the only guy for me.
Okay, let's go over the clip show. So we got Serge Ibaka still out, should be back soon. Coffee out, Pat Bev out, and then Kawhi Leonard questionable. So that's a big one to watch today. Projected starters: Reginald Jackson, Paul George, Leonard, Morris, and Zubats. So this is one of the last games of the slate here, Chris. We got the Raptors Jazz game also starting at the same time. Is this Kawhi news something that you would consider backloading for, or I mean, are there just other solid plays where even if he's sat, it doesn't really matter too much?
I mean, the only reason you would backload is if you want to play Kawhi, just because everyone else here is priced as if Kawhi was out. He's been out for like a week plus, maybe even 2 weeks now. I mean, you have this narrative, like this is obviously the playoff matchup from last season where everyone trashed the Clippers. So it's probably a game that they want to get up for. I think it's a game that someone like Paul George would want to get up for. I think Kawhi ends up playing just because it's the situation. It's the same matchup as the playoffs in the bubble last year. So I think this is going to be a really fun game to watch, but not too much here in DFS for me. We also got news that LaMelo is starting in front of Devontae Graham today, so that makes LaMelo viable in FanDuel Cash today.
Yep. And then can I open this Paul George GIF here? Let's see. Give me a sec. We got this we got playoff. Oh, it's so small. This is playoff P though, right here, Chris, off the backboard, top right corner. Is that what we're gonna see today?
I mean, that happens sometimes. Happens to me a few times as well. It just goes right a little bit. It happens. I mean, I always say this. What's the difference between that and like a miss off the back of the rim?
Oh, I just didn't he have a terrible game that game?
I think Kawhi was worse.
Yeah, it's not that shot. I think that shot just sums up his performance, though. He just looked terrible that game.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm with you. Like a miss, an air ball, like it's just a miss.
Yeah, I gotta defend my boy. I mean, I love that guy.
Yeah, you don't love playoff P, do you?
I mean, I think he's good. He had some very good series on the on the Pacers.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's good to see. He's getting to playoff form. We saw him have his playoff upside recently here last game against the Pelicans. So he's definitely getting ready for the playoffs. Should be ready to perform here. When the Clippers need him, you can see there he's ready to go. So this is one of those matchups where he should be ready to go as well. Yeah, so Rondo here says LaMelo starting over Graham. Does that make him a must play on FanDuel at least, Chris, in cash?
I don't know about a must play, but he's very cheap. He's 5'6". Like, we were paying $8K for him before the injury. I'm interested to see if there's going to be a restriction on his minutes, but him starting makes him very interesting on FanDuel.
Nice. And then did you go over everyone on the clip show?
Clip show, yeah. I'm not too interested in them.
Okay, let me reset the filter. We have a question from Wendy asking best shooting guard 5K and under on FanDuel. So let's do that. Shooting guard salary. Let's put in 5K.
I would try to get up to 5'4" for Josh Jackson. And then, yeah, Tim Hardaway Jr., I don't love him. Melton for 4-1. I like Melton as a value piece, so you'll have some extra money. But I'd try to spend up for Josh Jackson if I could, 400 more.
Just one of the better shooting guard plays by far.
Yeah.
Yeah, makes sense. Okay, let me reset the filter on DK as well. So let's go over the 3 pillars, Chris, today. First up, overall play of the day on FanDuel. Who's your boy today?
I got to go with the cover boy, Luka Doncic.
Okay, there we go. What about value? Who do you have on FanDuel?
Mo Wagner.
Is it Mo? Okay. And then tournament play of the day. Who's your boy?
Like Zion for 8-9. I think it's a pretty good buy low spot. I don't think he's going to be too popular just because we have Wagner and Isaiah Stewart, who are just great plays today at power forward. So I like Zion.
Would you consider putting LaMelo Ball there at all, or do you think he's going to be more popular than Zion?
I mean, we could put LaMelo there. I think we could put LaMelo instead. I like that. But he might be chalky now. That's the thing. I'm hoping we get word on minutes with him.
Yeah. DK, Chris, overall play. Who's your guy?
Same thing, Luka Doncic.
And then value.
And then value is the same. It's going to be Mo Wagner.
And then tournament play.
I don't want to say LaMelo here just because they didn't really price him down like FanDuel did. He's 6.9K. I think that's probably where he should be. I'll go with my boy Paul George.
George Paul. Playoff P. Let's see. We got some word on Malik Monk's minutes limitations today, but nothing on LaMelo. Okay, let's go over your cores, Chris, on FanDuel. Let's click the filter here. So you got Doncic, Kevin Porter Jr., Stewart, and Wagner. Quick recap. Why do you like these plays here?
Yeah, so Luka, no KP in the best matchup that we have. Stewart with all their guys resting for 5-9. Wagner, he's starting now. They only have, I think, 9 available bodies. I should play 27-plus minutes here. And then Porter Jr. with no John Wall, just an easy play on FanDuel for 6-1.
Okay, and then which one should we go over?
Let's do the first 2. Yeah, so same players here. Luka and Curry, 2 really good spend-ups at point guard. That's that's the reason it might be a little hard to get to LaMelo, just because we have 2 elite spend-ups there. But I wouldn't be surprised to see some builds pop up with LaMelo at point guard instead of Curry, and like a spend-up at either shooting guard or small forward. So we'll have to wait and see on that. But I like this build right now as of now. Then we have Josh Jackson in both, 5'4". Love him here. I think he's pretty close to a lock. Just didn't want to lock him just because I think there are different routes at shooting guard that are viable. I'm likely to have him, Kevin Porter Jr., Isaiah Stewart, Wagner, lock them all. And then we have a 3v3, Melton, Bay, Cat versus Clarkson, Ingram, and Moses Brown. Yeah, so I mean, I like the first side here. It gets us to Cat. Melton, I like him with no Grayson Allen. I think he's a solid play. Sadiq Bey should get a lot of minutes here with the guys that they're missing. But mainly I like the spend up in Cat. I think Cat has a big game here, so I'll go with the first side. But it is close.
Okay, let's go on DK then. Load up the filter. So just 3 guys here. You got Jokic, Doncic, and Mo Wagner. Another recap, Chris, for everyone tuning in. Why do you like these guys here on DK?
Yeah, so I just talked about Doncic and Wagner. So Jokic is the guy that you can fit easier just because you can play 2 centers here.
Okay, let's hit build. Okay, which ones shall we go over?
Let's look at the first 2 here. Yeah, so I think we have a 2v2 here. Yeah, Svi. And the first one, Svi. So we have Ty Jerome in both lineups. He's a little bit thin for me, but I think he's fine as a value play. They're resting Pokuševski and Dort today, so that opens up some more minutes for some of these other guys. I'd love it if he starts, but I mean, I'm still fine with him as the last piece here, even if he doesn't start. Luka, locked him. Sekou, 3-1, he should start. So I like Sekou a lot here with Grant, Plumlee, all those guys out. So I like him as value. Lets you spend up for 3 studs here on DraftKings. So I like him, Jokic, Core, Wagner, Core, and then Flynn, 4-3. Just a solid value play. That another guy that helps you spend up for 3 studs on DK. So we have this 2v2, Curry and Svi versus Saban Lee and Westbrook. So basically one side gets you Curry, one side gets you Westbrook. I kind of prefer Curry today. I like the matchup a lot against the Rockets. Like I said, the Rockets, I don't expect them to double him or anything like that. So I think Curry could have a huge game here. Westbrook's on the back end of a back-to-back. But he did play less minutes yesterday, so I'm not concerned about that. But still kind of like Curry here. And then you get Svi over Saban Lee. If Svi ends up starting, I think the first side is going to be very obvious. But if Svi is coming off the bench, then the second side is still viable. But I'm still going to say I prefer the first side slightly.
Okay, and then a question from David. He says, thoughts on Kent Bazemore?
Yeah, I don't mind Kent Bazemore at all either. We got news that Kelly Oubre is out once again. Bazemore is 4-6 on DK, so that's a really good price tag. I wouldn't be surprised to see him pop up in some builds now. We were expecting Oubre to play. He was questionable. But yeah, now Bazemore's a great play. I wouldn't be surprised if he shows up in optimals.
Okay. And then for World King, Chris, which one do you think we should go over here?
Let's look at the last one, Denver and Clippers.
Okay. How's your AirPod, by the way? Is it still muffled?
No, it sounds normal now.
Are you still going to use your Apple Care or not?
I don't know if I need to. I mean, it sounds normal.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe it'll break later on. I don't know. But anyway.
Yeah, I mean, I'll still have Apple Care then, so.
Is it for life or what?
I'm not sure. I think it's just, I mean, I'm paying monthly. I don't know how long it's for. I think it is. I don't know.
Okay. So yeah, Jokic MVP, Chris, in this game. Although I feel like Kawhi's questionable, but I feel like Paul George he's got the upside to outscore Jokic. If Kawhi plays also, I guess then none of them. I guess then Jokic would be my favorite there. But yeah, what do you make of this MVP? Because it's Jokic 100% here.
All right. Didn't you win your first one this year on this exact matchup?
Yeah.
It was against the Nuggets, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so, I mean, yeah, Paul George, MVP, definitely viable. He's going to be actually, I don't know if he's going to be the lowest owned out of the 3. Maybe Kawhi's going to be the lowest owned MVP out of the 3 just because he's coming back from the injury. So I don't know. It's definitely interesting. I like the build with Rondo. You got him over Rivers. I like Rondo in this matchup just because I think this is a big matchup. So yeah, I like Rondo in big matchups. I assume this is national TV, so you get national TV Rondo as well. Let me see. Yeah, it's on ESPN, so you get national TV Rondo. So I like the third lineup.
Yeah. But so if Kawhi's out, Chris, is that you think he's going to be out?
No, I think he's in.
Oh, okay, so yeah. Okay, let's see what else. David says thoughts on DJ Wilson.
I'm fine with him, but we have a lot of value on this slate, so I don't know if you need him, but I'm fine with him, especially in tournaments.
Let's let's go over some housekeeping then. So first up, quickly, check out our site if you're new here, dfscrunch.com. If you're a new member, you can get 3 days for free, automatically applied to your account as you create it, so you don't need any special links or coupon codes for that. It's automatic if you're a new member. So you get 3 days to try out our whole product optimizer that we're using here. You get access to all the sports that we support, which is all the main ones. You get access to FanDuel, DraftKings, and then you get access to all the different slates for all those sports. So there's a lot more to it than what you see us using throughout the show, primarily because we go over it from a cash game standpoint. But if you're into tournaments, there's a lot of settings here as well. Lots of ways to kind of customize your builds, cater it towards your own play style, whatever you prefer for the slate. And then you also get access to our Discord as well. So that's a great place to ask questions about slate-specific questions, players, teams, anything like that, strategy for DFS, and then also our optimizer as well. So lots of helpful, awesome members here in the community. So everyone here, super helpful. So if you have any questions, this is the place to be, our Discord. And then the other thing is for your trial, the 3-day trial, you can cancel it or manage it here, manage your entire account actually here in the sidebar. Just open up the sidebar, hover over this thing, click Account Center, and then that's where you can cancel or whatever, leave your subscription, manage your account there. So that 3-day trial, you have 72 hours from when you sign up. That's when you'll be receiving your first charge. But like I said, more than welcome to cancel before then. Just try it out. Weekends are always the day to do it. Did UFC start today, Chris, already?
No, it starts the same time as NBA.
Okay, so it's like an hour and a half from now?
Yep.
Yeah, so what do we have today? We've got baseball, probably?
Yeah, baseball's every day.
Well, I just don't know when the main slate is.
I mean, there's always night games, early games every day, so there's always baseball.
It's always baseball. There's always NHL. There's always basketball for now, too. We've got UFC. What do we have? We've got some cars stuff this weekend, right, Chris? Tomorrow? Today?
Today, tomorrow, yeah. Trucks today, cars tomorrow.
Wait, trucks today?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
They
I
don't,
need to watch
because
it.
they have the same racers.
Oh, I didn't know that. Yeah, so there's lots of stuff. So check out that trial, dfscrunch.com. YouTube stuff. Before you go, thumbs up if you enjoyed the content. It helps us grow. Make sure you're subscribed. Make sure you have the bell button clicked and then the all text selected just so you can get notified when we go live. It's every day, weekends, holidays. If there's an NBA slate, we'll be live. It's always 2.5 hours before main slate. So that just makes it a bit easier to keep up to date. Usually have a bit more questions here, but I mean, format's always the same. So we do the same format. And then if you have any questions yourself, they always get answered. So it's a great place to kind of just talk DFS before the slate starts, strategize, things like that. So Royal King here says, Kawhi over PG if he plays. Is that what you like, Chris, here? Would you put him in the star slot then?
I mean, projections always like Kawhi over PGs or over PG whenever he plays. So, yeah, I agree.
Okay. I think that's it, Chris. Kind of a fast one for a 10-game slate here, but there's a lot of slates that we got to get ready for ourselves. Anything else from you, Chris, before we say goodbye?
Yeah, I don't think we had any chat today, so I think that's why it was very fast. Usually we have a lot more chat, and that's why it's usually a lot slower to go over the games. But yeah, I mean, hopefully everyone has a good one. Hopefully someone can take down the MMA slate if they're playing tournaments. I'm playing tournaments as always. So yeah, I'm excited for the NBA slate and MMA slate today.
Yeah, that's going to be you. You're going to take it down. You've been taking them down. It's always in your favor, stacked in your favor. It's just that it's once a week. That's why you don't win more often. Got to wait a week before you can play again. But I have a good feeling. I'm sure you'll take it down today, Chris. But yeah, thanks for tuning in, guys. If you have more questions, come hang out in our Discord. We'll be in there as always. Yeah, appreciate you guys tuning in. Good luck today, like Chris said, and then see you guys all tomorrow.